Chapter 3 Pavan Putra Shri Hanumanji. We do not have sufficient authentic data on the duration of Gurudev's stay with Maharaj Shri. The next that we hear about him is that around 1900 AD, he was well known as a Virakt Mahatma at Atri Ansuyaji, about 10 miles from Chitrakoot. The stone enclave on the banks of the river Mandakini, with the idol of Shri Hanumanji by its side, bears witness to his years of sadhana over there. In those days, there was a dense forest all around, which was impenetrable even by sunlight. Saints and Mahatmas did their tapasya all around in solitude in the forest. Along with his routine of tapasya, now Gurudev began sadhu seva, providing food for the sadhaks. For meeting the expenses, some unknown devotee used to send ₹60 every month to Sitapur. In those days when gold prices were hardly ₹10 per gram, ₹60 was equal to more than ₹25,000 in present days. Shri Ram Bahoriji Maharaj, who is nearing his century mark now, was then a kid of 10 to 12 years and would go to Gurudev for food out of curiosity. On maturity, his devotion increased and he decided to devote his entire life to Gurudev and his mission. Ram Bahoriji had heard from others that before coming to Ansuyaji, Gurudev had stayed for several years in Pampasarji, situated between Koti Tirth and Devangana. And over there he used to be known as Tyagi Maharaj and used to have a jat on his head. In Pampasarji, Gurudev had ceremoniously installed an idol of Shri Hanumanji, which is worshipped even today as Banke Siddh Hanumanji. After 12 long years of tapasya in Pampasarji, Gurudev had come to Ansuyaji. One evening during his walk, Gurudev sat for a while on a nala. Out of the dim and dusky forest, a tiger came to drink water at the stream. Gurudev had often heard that if one was fearless and had sense of compassion and kindness for all, then even the wildest of wild animals would not harm him. He looked lovingly at the tiger, who came over and sat at his feet. Pujya Shri said, "Welcome, friend. I was feeling lonely. Now that you are here, we will have each other's company." In the morning, Gurudev walked over to his cave and the tiger went to the deep forest. This was only one example of several such incidents in his life when the most ferocious of creatures were won over by his love and compassion for all. When we burn an agarbatti, its pleasant scent spreads all around. Similarly, the very presence of saints and the aura of sanctity around them is enough to purify the thought processes of all around them. In contrast, the disturbed people with their ugly thoughts can and do pollute their surroundings and the thoughts of others. On Ekadashi day, Gurudev used to do parikrama of Kamadgiri, the hill on which Shri Ram stayed with Janki ji for a while during his forest sojourn of 14 years before going to Panchvati. One night, Shri Hanumanji appeared in Gurudev's dream and told him to go and dig on the west side of Kamadgiri, where he would find an idol of Hanumanji. This idol was to be placed in a temple with due ceremony. Next day, when he went with Govardhan Dasji to the indicated spot, it was as though the idol sprang out from the ground with a blasting explosion. As directed in the dream, he installed the idol ceremoniously in a temple, and he would regularly recite Hanuman Bahuk before it, till he remained in that place. Being pleased by such constancy and devotion, Hanumanji gave him charitra-darshan. At this, Gurudev's ecstasy knew no bounds. He went into a devotional trance and kept on uttering only one phrase, "Bring the bell, I want to perform aarti." With great difficulty and after prolonged prayers by all Mahatmas, they were able to bring him out of that trance. Bhav Samadhi. Even today, this divine idol is reputed to possess miraculous powers that fulfill all the wishes of those who worship it with true devotion. After this incident, all the sadhus in the area, recognizing Gurudev's saintly qualities, started revering him. But one sadhu of Ansuyaji was jealous and constantly tried to oust Gurudev from that place. How ironical! Jealousy in Ansuya, which means non-jealousy. Having recognized such antagonism and to avoid friction, Gurudev decided to leave the place. The pretext to leave arose very soon. One night, the notorious dacoit Mangal Singh came to Gurudev's cave and asked for food because his entire gang was hungry. Gurudev merely pointed a finger at his cave, and on finding food provisions, the dacoits could eat heartily after several days of near starvation. After some days, an unknown and anonymous consignment of rice, ghee, dal and potatoes reached Gurudev, who realized that the dacoits were repaying their debt of gratitude. Further realizing that in future, Mangal Singh may use him as a shield to escape the police, he moved away to the deep forest on the bank of the Juri river. He constructed a kutir for sadhana and simultaneously began sadhu seva, the service of Mahatmas. He would provide nutritive food for them, while he himself subsisted on extremely frugal diet of a few berries and at times juice of some leaves. All around, the local people called him Falhari Ranchoddasji, the fruit-eating saint. A rogue elephant belonging to the Jagirdar of Juri was allowed to roam freely, causing damage to persons and property. Once he uprooted Gurudev's kutia. Pujya Shri boldly admonished the Jagirdar about his duties towards his people and told him to keep his elephant in restraint. The Jagirdar was impressed by such true and bold words and regretted his elephant's misbehavior and sent artisans to restore Gurudev's kutia. The kutia and the mango tree planted by Gurudev by its side bear testimony to his sadhana days. During his sadhana of self-realization, Gurudev would get so deeply engrossed in samadhi that he would be totally immune to his surroundings. Passers-by would bow down with reverence before his Dhyan Lin Mahatma. The great sage Patanjali had prescribed 8 stages in Yoga Sadhana. 1. Yam, which means self-control. 2. Niyam, or regular practice. 3. Asana, posture. 4. Pranayam, breath control. 5. Pratyahar, immunity to extraneous thoughts. 6. Dharana, concentration. 7. Dhyan, meditation. And 8. Samadhi, the stage of complete equanimity and bliss. Gurudev, having achieved and transcended beyond all these 8 stages, had reached Sahaj Samadhi, or inborn and effortless unity with the Supreme Brahman. As the scent of flowers spreads far and wide, so did Gurudev's repute spread amongst these people. Saints and Mahatmas came for his darshan. Simultaneously, the common folk looked up to him with devotion and adoration. They would travel across long distances and come to him for solace, darshan and blessings. Indeed, as faith begets faith, so love begets love.